Redeeming the game. Redeeming the game. Redeeming Redeeming the game. Redeeming the game. Redeeming the game.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Redeeming the Game podcast. As you know, I'm your host, Coach Matt Sanders. And man, I cannot tell you how excited I am today. We are, per our time zone, mine and the guy on the screen, Tobias Welling, we're at 8 o'clock Central Time. But Mr. Seth Hauer is somehow 20 minutes past the Central Time Zone and got into Mountain somehow. And he is at 7 o'clock a.m. We all got up for all of you to listen today, and I am beyond grateful and excited for these two incredible gentlemen to come on the podcast. We're going to bless some people today, and I want everybody to know that we got up early. That's the point, because we got up early to get this thing rolling today. So appreciate you two guys jumping on, and we are going to do what we did last time with a couple of my other former players, and Tim. Shout out you guys for jumping on the podcast. Thank you guys for coming on, and thank them for coming on. We're gonna split this one into two parts, because normally these conversations they roll, and we're here to tell an incredible story about these incredible young men. So let's get it started. Without further ado, Mr. Tobias Welling and Mr. Seth Hauer, appreciate you guys jumping on today.
Yeah, we appreciate you having us on. I reached out. Well, I didn't really reach out. You posted a picture on your Facebook story, which I never really am on Facebook, but we just finished my basement at my house and had to get some furniture. So I was a Facebook Marketplace hunter.
Hey, okay.
Yeah. All new furniture. So I see Coach Sanders, a picture of you with your ring.
Oh yeah, the one you lost.
Yeah, and that's what I swiped up and said. I was like, oh man, I lost that ring, but you know what? Doesn't even matter. It sucks because that was a really cool ring, but the memories we made, the experience of actually winning the championship and the brotherhood we formed, way more valuable than a
absolutely
piece of jewelry.
So good.
That's kind of what got the ball rolling on this.
Absolutely. Thank you for the setup. You need your own podcast. That was really good.
Full transparency, this is my first time ever being on a podcast, so a little nervous coming in. You might have to give me some grace.
You're good.
Coach will tell you, you never know what would come out my mouth. So hopefully nothing crazy happens.
I'll tell you that two of my college roommates, shout out Greg White and Jason Browning, actually Will Campbell too, were all youth pastors, and they all are you. All three of them dudes, you never knew what was going to come. Now you can't be a lead pastor like Seth and just pop off. Like, you don't get to just say whatever comes out of your whatever comes in your mind, right? Because that'll get you in some trouble. So, well, Toby, why don't you take a minute right now and just tell us about where you are, who you are, where you're from, that kind of thing, what's going on in your life.
Yeah. Obviously, my name is Tobias, and I am located in a small village in Nebraska called Greenwood. It's where we live, and I grew up just 5-6 miles down the road in Ashland, Nebraska. And now I'm serving at a church. It's a country church, way out in it's not way out in the boonies, but there's only dirt roads that lead to my church. But we surprisingly have a great, vibrant, full church. But where we serve and do ministry is in Waverly, Nebraska, and that's just another 5 or 6 miles down the road.
Okay. Wow.
And the coolest part about where we serve, like I said, our church is way out in the country, but we have our own youth building smack dab right in the middle of Waverly. And so we draw on a lot of community kids.
Come on.
And it's a great outreach to the community of Waverly. So we've been really blessed. So on a Wednesday night, we see anywhere from 100 to 130 students. It's been crazy. Awesome. God has really just blessed us with the number of students that show up every Wednesday night. And I'm married, and I just had my first daughter 7 months ago. So I've been learning how to navigate fatherhood, which one thing I appreciated about Coach is he always said, I hope all you guys get married and have kids someday. And you would always tell us that, that basketball also connects to fatherhood.
Come on, bro.
So,
Don't go. Listen, don't do the whole podcast in the first
Yeah,
in the first scene right here. Let's
yeah. I should also tell everyone that I'm 26 years old, so I'm still young and dumb. And they say your brain fully develops when you're 25. I think mine's still developing. Maybe I'll get there when I'm 30.
So much truth to that. Thank you, Toby. Appreciate that. Thanks for the love. All right, Seth Howard, tell them.
Well, my name's Seth. I am here in the big city of Mullen, Nebraska. Sarcasm, right? Village of about 400 people, surrounded by cattle ranches. For those of you who don't know, the nearest Walmart is about an hour and a half, 2 hours away. So got to make a trip if I need something. But beautiful country. Lord has blessed me. I moved here 3 years ago from Grand Island, Nebraska, where I was born and raised. So just about 3 hours east of here, and got set up. God placed me in this church in ways that I never thought would happen. As a senior pastor at 21 years of age, now 24, single, wasn't married like most pastors would be. And God just said, hang on tight to the reins, and here you go. And started a whole new life that I absolutely am blessed and to love to live.
Come on.
Out here in the plains.
Well, it's dawning on me that both of you said the word village, and I'm like, holy smokes! What am I doing on here? We should have titled the podcast today "The Two Guys from Village." Yeah, I don't know.
I'm sure my village is bigger. We have post office, a bar, an Amish furniture store, and Nebraska's biggest candy store.
Hey,
that's pretty cool.
Oh,
yeah. Okay. All right.
I should give you guys, I forgot to say, Waverly Ori Servant Ministry is right outside of Lincoln, Nebraska. And where I live, Greenwood, it's about in the middle of Lincoln and Omaha. So
I appreciate you both. That's good. No, it's good. No, it's good. It's really good. It's good for everybody to know, and just I appreciate the candor and the authenticity of where you are and what you're doing. It really does matter. So we're gonna title this part one of the podcast "The Season That Nobody Saw Coming," and when I say nobody, our team, we saw it coming. In 2020 and all the things, right? We're in COVID. Everybody's, we're all dealing with all of the things that go with that. But the thing that, and I don't know if you guys have seen you may have it, the post I made a year ago that absolutely went nuts on TikTok was I posted a video about winning only 7 games and winning a championship. It went nuts. And so the podcast today, the beginning of the podcast, we really want to dive into that, where what was it really like? Who were you, in that season? And that's really kind of where we're going to go in part one of the podcast. So before we talk about the championship, before we, really get deep into that, because it's going to be important for people to know, the real question is, and Toby, we'll come back to you first and foremost here. Who were you when you first walked into that gym? I don't know, 3 years or 4 years prior to that. Well, 3 years prior to that.
Yeah, it was our junior year.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
which Seth came in a year after.
That's right. Yeah,
it was my freshman year.
Yeah.
Oh, freshman year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good year to come on.
Absolutely.
Oh man. Oh yeah. So back to your question. Who was I when I first walked into that gym? It's actually a pretty cool story. So obviously 18 years old, I came to Calvary straight out of high school. And God really had a hand in that, because my original plan was to go to a Bible college in Omaha called Grace University. That's where my parents went. They're alumni. My sister was currently going there. She's actually in her sophomore year, going to go into her junior year there. And so that's just, where I had my mindset to go. And I also had the plan of trying out for the team there. I wanted to play basketball. Didn't really have anything lined up, but Grace was also, they moved a step higher. So I wasn't sure of the odds of that playing there. But like I said, God's hand was in it. That university closed my senior year of high school. So then I was like, oh, shoot, what am I going to do? And God lined everything up to where I came out to Calvary. And what's actually cool is I just enrolled. Coach Sanders didn't seek me out as a player at all. And so I showed up the first day of school, and we talked over the phone, mainly with Coach P and I, about me wanting to play.
Shout out Coach Philip Parker.
Yeah, exactly. And he was like, hey, we're having like a visit week. You should come down. Ended up not being able to make it to the visit week. So then I showed up to the first day of college, or first day on campus, and was like, hey, I still want to play basketball. And Coach Sanders said, well, we might have a place for you. This week we're going to be scrimmaging. We're going to be just hanging out, scrimmage with the guys, hang out with the guys, and we'll see if there's a place for you. So long story short, scrimmage with the team the whole week, and they were like, this guy's a baller. Not actually, but this is a funny story too. And these two guys have been on the podcast, but I'm moving into my dorm room, and I get a knock on my door. I open it up. Two dudes at the door, Quez and Zeb. And I see this, 6'7" giant dude is like, hey, we heard you want to play basketball. I'm like, do all the players look like you? I don't know if I'll be able to compete with this. But oh man, that was a funny story. Shout out Quez and Zeb.
Yeah, shout them out.
Anyway, played with the team for the week, and you guys had a team meeting and came to the consensus that we do have a spot for him.
Yeah.
And so, man, that was just such a blessing to be welcomed in like that, with not having being thought out for anything, technically a walk-on.
Yeah.
So that was just incredible to be able to do. And a little bit of a background as far as the basketball side of things go. My junior year of high school basketball, we went undefeated and lost. In other words, we didn't win a single game. And so I was the only returning letterman. We had no seniors. Every other player that played varsity suited up JV, and it was mostly freshmen.
Yeah, come on.
And so I came from a basketball background of a lot of unsuccess, of not winning. And so I was super grateful, kind of like for a fresh start when I got to college. We had more success my senior year of high school basketball, but coming into that space kind of felt like a fresh start as far as basketball went.
That's awesome.
And then as far as where I was spiritually in my faith coming into that gym, I grew up in a Christian household, so I always had a faith. And so one of my favorite things about going to Calvary was being surrounded by other Christians. And so I think that was an incredible experience as well, to just be in a body of believers, especially as a basketball team, which was, completely different from my high school experience. And the funny thing too is when I met all my teammates, I found out a bunch of them were homeschooled. And I didn't even know homeschool basketball was a thing until I showed up to Calvary.
That's awesome, Toby. Thank you. That's powerful. That's really powerful. And I think it's important that everybody gets to hear the championships don't always look like you think they do. Like it's that picture of the iceberg, right? Like you see the tip of the iceberg, but everything that's underneath it, right? So you come in with that and then you get to experience it. That's powerful. All right, Seth, Tell us who you were.
Man, so I mean, like Toby said, or we just found out, it was my freshman year walking into that gym that we're talking about. And so it was first time stepping foot in the gym. Um, Rewind about a year and a half to my junior year, right after football season. I came on a visit to Calvary and sat down with Coach P talking about maybe playing basketball. And I still remember this. I was sitting in his office and he's like, he looks at me dead in the eyes and goes, "Are you sure you're not a football player?" And like trying to remind me that, I was still 6'4", 6'5", and 280.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
big boy walking around. But
Yeah.
went on a visit with my family. Absolutely loved campus. Worked out how to work out with you guys. Really enjoyed because Zeb was there,
Big Zeb.
hanging out with him, getting some pointers from him. Went home, and just a few months later, my dad passed away, and it kind of sealed it for me to go to Calvary, even if I didn't play basketball, because I knew how much that environment was good for me. So walking into the gym for that first time my freshman year, I was a kid who was still learning how to grieve, even though it had been a year. I was trying to take care of my mom and do all these things. And for the first time, I was out of the house doing my own thing, still trying to learn how to grieve and still working on struggles that I had as a 18-year-old young man. And so to step foot into that gym and have 15 other brothers who I finally learned I was not alone in my struggles, and we could walk with each other, hold each other accountable, and then just have a blast of a time doing it. Changed a lot of things and started me on some great paths in life and grew me up pretty quick.
My goodness. Seth doesn't hold back. Seth just grabbed the sword and went straight for the jugular. People are going to be weeping in the first 5 minutes of this thing. And I think that is incredible. And I don't ever assume, okay, so don't take this the wrong way, either one of you. I assume nobody listens to this thing. So I when I say this to both of you, if you haven't heard me say this, this is one of the things I say almost every podcast. One of the things that I wish that I knew, that I want every coach to know, is that when a player walks into the gym, we somehow were taught that you were basically a part of the machine. And I know that, especially Toby, when you got there, I was really in a place in my career where I was still living for the championship, us accepting you. I even think back, like when you said that, I remember the conversation with the team about how serious we were about you being a part of the program. Like, what were we doing? I'm like, that is the most childish thing I think I've ever heard in my life. And so I want coaches to hear that you're people and that you're people with all kinds of stuff that have happened in your life and that are happening. And that when you walk in the gym, you're not just a part of that machine, or as Dr. Naismith said, this is going to blow both of your minds. His fear, his prophetic vision of coaches, his fear was that coaches would learn to love winning to the point in which players would become a cog in the machine. Basically, a means to an end, right? And I can totally resonate with that. Like, not that I didn't see you as people, but I saw you 6'5" or 6'3" or whatever. I saw you as, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's real easy. Like, how big are you? How fast are you? Can you shoot? And you miss the person, now 6 years on the other side of all that. Holy smokes, wish I knew then, right? And I say that so much on this podcast. Like, remember, coach, these guys are people. These girls are people. They have stories that they're walking into your gym with every day. Literally, not just the first time, but every day. You never know what just happened at home the night before. You never know what happened in the dorm, the night before. Like Toby, you waited till the last minute to do a paper at 3 a.m., That never happened. Never, ever happened. Never. One of the things that sticks out to me about what Seth said that I think fits, because both of you are pastors, as we kind of slide over into the next section here, is that in Luke 3:22, it says, "You are my beloved son." And I that stands out to me, that both of you because of your time on the team and at Calvary, and shout out CU, you learned that what you are now, that it was teaching you about how loved you are by the Father, about how loved you are as a son of God, and you are how and the team does that. Basketball itself, because basketball is ministry, it does that, right? And so that's really, really sticks out to me. All right, here we go. How did 7 wins become a championship, Toby?
Yeah. So I was thinking about this, and a kind of funny thing that first came to mind is I'm not the kind of guy where I can remember, oh yeah, that game when I had, this many points, and oh yeah, that happened in that game. I can barely remember what I did yesterday. Yeah, I have a friend who he played freshman year. He's my roommate, and he can remember his games from freshman year. And I'm like, how do you remember that? I'm like, I remember playing at Austin Peay because that was the coolest experience.
Oh man, what an experience! Yeah.
And if you look up my stats on ESPN, I have, I think, 5 minutes of playtime with 4 fouls.
You went in there for real. Yeah.
I was guarded at 7-footer. Like, what else?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. You and Zev had that 7-footer. Lord have mercy. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, that was a whole tangent, but
That was good though.
So yeah, I'm not the type that remembers very well of like specific games. I just thought that was kind of funny, but when it boils down to the 7 wins turning into a championship, the way that happened is really we just showed up. I remember one of your rules was always, whatever time practice starts, if you're not 15 minutes early, you're late. Well, the 15 minutes turned to 30 minutes. 30 minutes turned to 45, to 45 turned to an hour.
Yeah.
I swear, whatever practice time was, almost every single guy was in that gym probably close to 2 hours before practice started.
So true.
And so I think that was really a huge part that played into the 7 wins turning into a championship, was just we showed up and we put in the work.
Wow.
With the goal in mind of, hey, no matter how well our season's gone up to this point, we have the tournament coming up. This is a fresh start. Which reminds me of our relationship with Christ. No matter where we've been at,
Come on.
in our past or yesterday with Jesus, today is a fresh start. And I've needed that reminder so many times.
Come on, bro. Yeah. I say this a lot, and I'll let you finish. I say this a lot on the podcast, but I've said it a ton on social media, that team was still, I've had a couple, there's another one that was really good at this, but you guys were the best practicing team I've ever coached. I mean, there were days where I had to stop you guys because I thought you were going to kill each other, right? It was World War III every day, right? And even the things that nobody saw coming, we saw them because we saw it every day. It wasn't producing on the quote unquote scoreboard, but we saw it every day. So you're absolutely spot on. Like, that's the truth about who you guys were, like building that, repetition every day that turned into a championship.
Yeah. Seth and we never tried killing each other in practice, ever.
Oh God. I think someone was the king of almost killing people in practice, but we won't call out names right now at all.
Yeah, it's funny that Seth, when you told your story, how Coach P, like, you look like a football player. Well, Coach Sanders always would say that I played basketball like a football player.
You did. 100%.
Dude,
100%.
Worst drill was that outside rebounding when Toby would get a full head of steam sprinting at the lane and you had to box him out. Put his shoulder down. Golly.
Oh, yeah. The funny thing is, I don't think that was even a good football player, to be honest.
If you had locked in like you were with basketball, you'd have been a really good football player because you didn't have to worry about what the play was. Just go take somebody's head off. You'd have been really.
My favorite part of football was defense.
I'm sure it was. Decapitation.
Yeah.
All right, Toby, thanks for that. All right, Seth, give us how you saw as a freshman. Man, I think I had forgotten that you were, I mean, that's the end of your freshman year, so you've been through a lot, but you walking in that season, what was that like? How did it happen?
Man, the one, if I can boil it down to one word, it was attitude. And it was not like attitude that most people think of. It was the attitude of, we are going to serve Christ in everything we do. Let the chips fall where they may. God is faithful. I remember, like a song we played over and over again, like during warm-ups, during stretching for practices, was Man of Your Word and Promises. And we would play that by Maverick City Music almost every single day. The team devotions we had, like, that's what sticks out to me some of the most. Was the leadership on that team. Zach, Quez, Braden. I'm trying to think who was. Toby, were you a leader that year?
No, I don't. Maybe
No, you were. Well, you were because you were because
it was my senior year or junior year.
Well, because that was when we started implementing juniors into the program of the leadership program. So you were.
Yeah. I remember.
Yeah.
And that's the main thing I remember, is the leadership on that team and the importance we had placed on scripture and the importance we had placed on faithfulness. And so we would go to war, and practice every single day, get heated, and then we'd walk out and we'd hug each other, love on each other, go to Bible study with each other, go to classes with each other. And it was just this attitude of, we're going to remain faithful with what God has given us, and we're going to do our best. We're going to be good stewards of what God has given us.
Come on. Wow.
And then see what God grants us with. We can't be responsible with a lot if we're not responsible with a little bit. And so as we just walked through all those games and practices, and the drawl of, not the work not showing up on the scoreboard, that we saw in the practice, it just, as Toby, you were talking about, how it reminds you of Christ. It reminded me of Proverbs 24:16, which has been on my heart a lot recently. The godly may trip 7 times, but they will get up again.
Come on.
But one disaster is enough to overthrow the wicked. Woo! And all those battles we went through, how many times we saw other teams who weren't grounded, who didn't have that attitude of faithfulness, like, destroy them with just 2 losses or 1 loss. And we just kept our heads down with the attitude to remain faithful, and receive what God grants us, but do our best, do what he has asked us to do, and let the chips fall where they may.
Okay, so I'm gonna tie this in a little bit here with a couple of questions, but I don't know if you guys, and I already know Toby's answer to this because he doesn't remember, because he said he doesn't remember. So I'm just gonna take him at his word. But I think going back, I counted somewhere between 7 and 11. So I can't remember the exact number. So I'm pulling a Toby here, that we lost between 7 and 11 games by 3 or less. Do you remember that? And I think what gets lost in that championship is, imagine if we won those 11 games. On the other side of it, now we won 18 games. And it's interesting because I asked this question a lot. How many games does it actually take to win a championship? And it doesn't, even though you feel like it's got to be 18, 20, 25, 30, it really doesn't. Because if you stick to the process and everyone believes and you practice like you're champions, it will show up, because that's exactly what happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense? Okay. All right. So 2 questions here. Seth, I'm going to stick and stay with you. Give you for this one's going to be out of nowhere kind of question, but it'll be easy answer. What did I do as the coach? Because remember, we're talking to coaches on this podcast. What did I do that actually helped that team?
I think a big piece of it was you implemented the devotions, the worship nights that we had, and made those mandatory. Like, it wasn't a, hey, I feel like going to this. It was a, hey, as a team, we're going to sit down and we're going to worship.
Come on.
And that was, I mean, that is one of the biggest things that stuck out to me throughout that year was as 15 dudes sitting down and just worshiping together, so that we can trust each other, love each other in a deeper way. That brotherhood of Christ became so much deeper
Wow.
because we weren't just bonding over basketball and, oh yeah, we have faith. It was, we're bonding over faith, and then, oh yeah, we have basketball to play with each other too. That was one of the biggest things for me.
So good.
And then
So good.
placing those leaders in the position they were, where it wasn't just, boss man that makes all the rules, that makes all the decisions. It was the Tobys, the Zachs, the Quezes, the Bradens who took your ideas and your I'm trying to think of the word, but your understanding and your wisdom, and brought it down to a player level.
Wow.
And seeing these 4 guys who had bought into the mission instead of just you who had this mission. It was deeper than just coach. It was the
Wow.
entire team's mission.
My goodness. All right, Toby.
Man, how am I ever supposed to follow up?
That's so good. You can tell he's a senior pastor because it's like line on line. He's full blown Isaiah, like 30,
Yeah.
45, like just all over it.
That's awesome. Yeah. What something Seth said earlier that stood out to me was just the accountability we had as teammates. And I think you really steward that well as a coach. You let us know as players that we are responsible for one another, for holding each other accountable. And the way you steward that is by showing us what it looks like to correct a teammate, like in love, and being able to
Come
receive
on.
that.
Woo. Come
And
on.
so, yeah, so there was many times where, and I feel like other years, or especially my senior year, we didn't do that well as a team. We would, go at each other's throats when things went bad. Whereas this junior year team, we were able to be like, hey, cut that out and knock it off, like go at it with, calling it out, but
Come on.
love, and then being able to receive
Yeah.
it. And I
Wow.
feel like you as a coach were even able to do that. Like we were able to come to you and correct you. And you'd be like,
Absolutely.
"Yeah."
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I think that's powerful. All right. So then flip that question on its head. What did I not do good that helped?
So I feel like there was a couple times where you were still kind of coming out of hothead Sanders.
Yeah. True. True. Very true.
yeah.
Yeah. I was.
I think there might have been one practice where a chair got thrown onto the court.
I don't have any idea about what you're talking about.
Which again, I think every coach, I think there is a time and a place to get on your players and to,
Sure.
because it instills like a motivation and like, okay, we gotta lock in.
Yeah.
So there is a time, like you can't just be all the time. There is a time and place to get on the players. But I remember specifically, I don't remember if it was this year or not, but there was a couple times where like we went at it on the sideline, like coming out of a game, and you had the maturity to, like, not after the game, but during the game, coming to me and apologize and be like, hey, you're doing a great job. Like, sorry for getting on you. And because like there were times where like we would go at it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Instead
Yeah.
of just letting it sit there,
Yeah.
or like me,
Mhm.
you would go, not just let it sit. You
And
attack it,
and fester like a
Yeah.
sore. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
That's good, Toby. That's really good. I think it's important that people hear, because I try to, I'm obviously, you know how transparent I am. I try to be very vulnerable in this thing. Like, I did those things through clipboards, through pens, kick chairs, whatever, the whole kind, because I was stuck in that mode of like, this is a machine and we're trying to win a championship, and you lose sight of the whole person, right? That didn't help anybody. Seth, what about you?
Shoot, I mean, it's hard for me for a couple of reasons. One, because I came in as you were working on that transition out of that time, right? That was
Yeah.
like one of the first years that you were really being conscious about the player instead of just the cog in the machine.
Yeah.
But two, it's also the senior pastor in me of I see the best in everything until it just blows up in my face
Yeah, I get it.
and I get
get
hurt.
it.
So, I mean, it's hard for me to point to something that's like this was not well done.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate that because, well, Toby, the thing I appreciate about both of you, but Toby in a different, because you both are in different roles in your life right now as a, senior pastor and then a youth pastor, like the lens that you see everything through is so different, like, and a part of your upbringing. And then, so I think people can really appreciate that. I think that's really, really important. Okay. So as we begin to land the plane on here on part one, Seth, we'll stick and stay with you on this question. And this one to me makes me think about 1 Corinthians 1:27. God chooses what the world considers weak to display his strength. I think about that with basketball. That's why I'm doing Redeeming the Game. The point is that basketball is ministry. Basketball was created to win men and women for the Master Jesus through the gym. So with that being illuminated, and that scripture being illuminated, what did basketball teach you about God in every form? And I this one can go wild, so do your best to try to keep it, maybe narrow it down to a couple of points, because I know that, but for both of you, it could go wild.
I mean, to go back all the way to the attitude that I talked about with the championship, I think it taught me so much more about God's faithfulness
Wow.
than I ever could have imagined. Just so, in the promises of God that we can count as yes and amen. It talks so much. Matthew 6:33, seek first the kingdom of God and live righteously, and all else will be taken care of, for lack of a better way to put it.
Yes, good.
And as we walked in that faithfulness and in that just righteous attitude of, okay, I'm still gonna stumble, but you know what? I'm gonna get back up, keep my head, keep my eyes focused on Christ, and keep walking. We saw the faithfulness of God grow because each and every guy had a deeper relationship with Christ when we left that gym that year than when we first walked in. And it specifically reminds me of the national tournament when we showed up, got there, and all of a sudden we were at the chapel and they're like, oh yeah, the band couldn't make it. We need somebody. And Ike and Ike and Quez and Coach Robbie jumped up and led worship at the national tournament.
Just crazy.
Like, God's faithfulness of like, he had this designed for us. He knew this was going to take place. He had this predestined that this would come to fruition.
Come on.
That we had this work to do throughout this season so that we could be at that point. Because I still remember the amount of guys who walked up to our team at the end of that worship night and said, that was the first time I ever prayed. And it gave me chills then, and it gives me chills now that like God's promise of seek first the kingdom and all else will be taken care of. And, of course we had that desire to win that championship, to make it to that stage, but it transcended. God's plan transcended our desire. Our desire lined up with God's, but yet his plan was so much greater.
Come
that
on.
would impact 5 or 6 guys who would pray for the first time in their life because the worship band couldn't make it, and 3 of our guys stepped up and led worship that night.
My
Like
goodness.
the faithfulness of God showed up in such greater ways than I ever could have imagined.
Yeah, that
year.
list is long.
Yeah.
Toby?
Yeah, that was such an incredible moment. Wow. I didn't forget about it, but it unlocked like a memory of being in that chapel, surrounded by all these guys from all over the country, at the national tournament,
Yeah.
and just lifting up praise to the Lord. And it was like just so cool to see our guys lead in that, and obviously the prayer that happened after. Man, that was such a cool moment. But back to the question about what basketball taught me about God. One thing I super appreciated and really valued about our team is we always said this: Jesus first, then school, then basketball.
Come on.
And so basketball was last on the list, not because we're not putting time to it, or at least it's those other two things will bleed into basketball. And like we've been talking about, that year we had worship. There was times when we walked into the gym with a practice plan, scanned it, and
Come on.
we partnered up and we prayed, because
Mhm.
like that's what we needed more than
Come on.
basketball in that moment. And then obviously school, like we're studying the Word of God or whatever our classes are, but also if we're not passing our classes, then we can't play basketball.
That's so powerful. That's really true. Yeah.
And this says a lot about that championship team that year. But I think we were like the highest percentage of like all A's, or like the high, like we were one of the highest GPA teams in the history of the program.
100%. 100%.
So that just kind of speaks for itself, and
Man.
a contributing factor of a championship team is, we were putting in work not only on the court, but off the court, in the classroom. It showed our work ethic. And so anyway,
That's good. Gracious. That's good.
so what it really taught me about God is that our faith is also like a spiritual, not a spiritual, our faith is like also exercising. We have to exercise our faith.
Wow.
Exercise basketball.
Wow.
And I actually use the illustration a lot with my students that I minister to, is because most of them are athletes, and I honestly want to find a way to I already use basketball with students. Like we play pickup games, we shoot hoops and stuff, but it'd be cool to see if I could get more involved in the basketball program at Waverly with the students, But anyway, I use the illustration a lot because so many of the students are also athletes.
Yeah.
And it's like when you're an athlete, you have to get in the gym, you have to lift weights,
Mhm.
you have to practice. There's so much more that goes into it, just
So good.
the game or the performance of the final game. There's so much going into it. And so like with my relationship with God, I need to put in the work. I need to be in the Word. I need to be praying. And I don't always do a great job of that full transparency. And I can see it in my life when I'm not doing that.
Absolutely.
And I'm coming out of a season of, just summer, running all over the place, not really making the time to be in the Word. And you see the effect of that in your life when you're not
Absolutely.
in the Word. And so that really was one of the main takeaways of basketball and my relationship with God is, man, my game needs work. So does my relationship with the Lord.
Come on. That's powerful. That's really
yeah.
good, Toby. I think it is a powerful way to end part one, and just to put a bow on it. The scripture says that God is working both the willing and the doing of his good pleasure in our lives. So he is working in all of the things that we do. Romans 8:28, he works out all things for good, right? So basketball is good. And it's funny you said that, Toby, and I'm going to land the plane on part one with this. Jesus, academics, and basketball. And little did I know, had I known this when I was coaching you, I would have never put it that way, because basketball itself is a ministry. And it was created to win people to Jesus, and it works. What I'm saying is they're not 1-2. they coincide, because Dr. Naismith's dream, his vision, basketball went global because of Christian missionaries. I mean, it's always been ministry. And man, I wish I knew that then. And you should use that message. You should use the origin story of basketball when you talk to other athletes, basketball players, about the game. That's why we love it, because God loves it too. And that the way I want to end it is this: for God so loved the world that he sent his only son so that none of us will perish. And I want you to think about that. He loves us so much that he, by his infinite wisdom, gives Dr. Naismith a dream and a vision that a game could be ministry. And that's why it's so powerful. And we all loved it. And all of the things that come from it, the relationships of love, the games we love, the practice we love, which is why we all seek after the kingdom by the Spirit and by the Word, because we love God, because he first loved us, because basketball was God's idea. What a way to end it. Well, I appreciate you boys. And as we say each and every week, we're redeeming this game one family, one coach, and one play at a time. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you for part 2 next week. Hope this blesses you.
Redeeming the game. Redeeming the game. Redeeming the game. Redeeming the game. Redeeming the game.